Okay, no problem. I'm an architect from Syria. I have got my PhD from USM. Okay. Okay, it's clear. So I have been teaching project management for quite a long time, about 10 years. My specialty in my PhD was innovation management and using BIM to enhance the performance of the construction companies. It's my pleasure to share this session with you to discuss about time management in the uh, in the project management. So starting, you can see my screen or no?
Not yet. And I think your voice is quite low from here. Okay, we can see it now. The screen.
Okay, the voice is clear or
It's
still?
quite low just now. I think now. You want to try to speak first?
Okay, project management
Okay.
processes. So starting by identifying the uh, time management is the processes required to manage timely and completion of the project. We will see now, we will try to identify what are the criteria, what are the features, what are the main issues um, regarding the tasks, and how we can just identify the relationship between these tasks and how we can set up a sequence to identify the length, the duration of the project, and then we can see how we can plan it right and we can control it right also in the phase of executing the project. The voice is clear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So first, about the processes and the time management is defining the activities in the project, then identifying the sequence of the activities, which is what comes first and which is relying on, then estimating the activity resources and activity duration, and finally developing the schedule, and after all, using this schedule to control the project when executing. So in this session is going to be not in-depth details, but we will try to just reach our goal is to develop the schedule of the processes that we are engaging them in the project. So scheduling actually comes in the planning phase of the project. So starting, we have the knowledge area is the project management, project time management. It will be in the planning phase. So you have to define the activities, the sequence, and the activity resources and duration, and finally develop the scheduling. While executing the project, we will use the schedule we have developed to control the processes and to benchmark our performance in the project. So to start, we have to do a WPS work work breakdown for the tasks in our project. This one we will use the enterprise and organization processes and assets and the scope baseline for the activities we are doing in the project. This one all will define all the activities involved in our project. So we use one of the criteria we will go through now. Then what we will have after defining the activities, we will have two type of output, which is the milestones and the activities. So the input for this activity definitions is the scope baseline, enterprise environmental factors, and organizational process assets. We use these inputs to develop the activity list and the activity attributes and the milestone lists. How to produce this output by using several techniques and tools, which is decomposition, rolling wave plan, templates, and expert judgment. So we'll go through one by one. The scope baseline is the project deliverables and constraints and assumptions documentation in the project scope lines. So this one will consider explicitly while defining the activities. We will have an explaining example later. So if I want to do, for example, a construction project, so I will know because I have been an architect. I have lesson learned from other project I done previously. So I know the sequence and the tasks I need to do to deliver the bidding, for example, or for my project that I want to do. Then you will have the enterprise environmental factors that includes availability of the project management information systems that they have, and the schedule software tools if it is considered by the enterprise you are working with. So finally, the existing formal and informal activities planning related to policies, procedures, guidelines, such as schedule methodology, and that are considered to develop the activity definitions by the organization that you are learned, that you are working with, in addition to the lesson learned and the previous knowledge that you have from historical information regarding the activities and the tasks that you have been doing before in similar previous projects. So now we are talking about the tools and techniques we are going to um, involve and we will use to develop the outcomes of the activities. First is the decomposition. As applied to definition, activities involved subdividing the project work, packaging into smaller and manageable components called activities. So the project will be divided into the smaller and more manageable component, which is the activities. This one is decomposing the project into smaller activities. The other way is the rolling wave plan. The rolling wave plan is a form of progressive elaboration planning where the work to be accomplished is near term is planned into detail while working far in the future is planned as high level. So the more you start from the first activity and you add up all other activities just like in progressive elaboration. The third one is the templates. You already have, because it's not first time you are doing a project in construction or any other field of work, that you will have some templates have been done by experts that they can be included as resource requirement, and they will include the skill set that is and the effort hour that these type of projects might be in need for within these templates. It will save you time. It will make you prepared to do easy for you to use the templates to start with, and then you can customize according to your need. Finally, is the expert judgment, the experienced team member that is and experienced in this and have extensive skills in developing details project scope. This one will you can use in WPS and project scheduling. So work breakdown scheduling, it's going to be done by expert in this scope. So the final output will be the activity lists. What are the activities you are doing? Then the activity attributes, what are the details, they're just like description, procedures and successors, and logical relationship that leads and lags resources requirement. All these things you will see now in a example that will show you the relationship between the activity and the tasks you are doing. Finally, is the milestone list. What is the difference between an activity and the milestone? A milestone is a point of time that identify significant event that project indicates, whether they are mandatory or optional. Whereas the activity is a duration of time, a duration of process that you have to put input inside it, labor, material, resources, do a process, do job inside this activity to have output. So if you want to build something, the duration, you have an activity inside this duration, then you will have your output, you will have your building done, you will have your wall done, you will have your finishes done. So this one is an activity, whereas milestone is finishing, is an event that after we do some activities, then we will celebrate our first building finish in the, for example, in the project, or we will finish the electricity uh, in this event. So the milestone is just for indicator that there is something already accomplished and finished, whereas the activity is the actual duration, the actual work being done. So the sequence of the activities, you can start by defining the scope, as we said, taking the organizational process and the project scope into consideration. Then this one you will define the sequence activities. Then it will be documented by the project. Whereas the defining activities, you will have activity list, activity attributes, and milestone lists. Then it will be developed the schedule. We will use it to develop our schedule. The sequencing, we will start by activity list, as we said, and attributes and milestones. Then we will have the project statement. The project statement may have information about regarding the sequencing, about sequencing of the tasks and the relationship between them. And finally, the organizational process assets, which is project file and organizational knowledge based on maybe contain information and scheduling methodologies. So after we identify all these three, the activity list, the attributes, and the milestones, we use the project scope statement to identify the relationships and the organizational process assets to enhance and to select the scheduling methodology and the information regarding the scheduling. So we have the precedency diagram method, and we have the dependency determination, and applying leads and lags, and schedule network templates. This one, I would like to show an example to actually uh, explain how these tasks are connected together. So first, I will show you one video that will explain this relationship, which is called a critical pathway. This one I will first will try. Everybody. In this video, we are going to determine. We'll try to see these activities, which is A, B, C, D, E until G, and we will see the predecessors of the E of each activity in this column, and the last column is the duration per day. And now we will see, we will see how we will transfer these actually these information here from columns into a diagram, into a relationship diagram, into a framework that uh, connect these activities together according to these information. Let's try step by step, and I will stop and I will explain about it uh, 1 minute by 1 minute. The project duration and critical path of this project that we were given the table of dependencies for. So the process here, we're going to do a rough draft over here. All right, welcome back everybody. In this video, we are going to determine the project duration and critical path of this project that we were given the table of dependencies for. So the process here, we're going to do a rough draft over here, make sure we don't have any unnecessary crossovers. We'll redraw it all nice and pretty and with space to put some more information on our nodes. And then we'll do a forward pass and a backward pass to get the early start, late start, and all of that good stuff. Then we can find the critical path and also the whole project duration. So first things first, let's do a rough draft here. We know that So once we have no predecessors, no activity connected before this activity, that's mean this is the first activity to start with because there is no activity before it. Okay, I want to ask if can you you can hear the voice of the video or no?
Not so clear, Doctor.
Not so clear.
Yeah.
Dr. Ala can try to click. Sorry.
Okay, I try to.
Okay, you can try to share again, and then when you share, you click that share computer sound. Then it should be better quality after that.
Okay, I will do.
Stop. Click share screen again.
Okay, share computer sound is good. Okay, I think now it should be better.
All right, welcome back, everybody.
Yes,
In
very
this
clear.
video,
Thank
we
you.
are going to determine the project duration and critical path of this project that we are given the table of dependencies for. So the process here, we're going to do a rough draft over here, make sure we don't have any unnecessary crossovers. We'll redraw it all nice and pretty and with space to put some more information on our nodes. And then we'll do a forward pass and a backward pass to get the early start, late start, and all of that good stuff. Then we can find the critical path and also the whole project duration. So first things first, let's do a rough draft here. We know that activity A is the first activity in the project because it has no predecessor, so we'll go ahead and draw that. Activities B and C both depend on A. So we can write activity B and activity C. Next.
So you notice now how once we start that activity A, the first activity in the project, because we don't have any procedures, then we check which one of the activities is having activity A as procedure. So we can see that B and C is initiated by activity A. So we draw A first, then we draw two arrows pointing to the activities relying on it, which is B and C, like this.
Next up, we have activity D. This depends on B. So we have activity B. Well, no, that's not right. Activity D. Getting carried away here. Now, activities E and F.
So once we see that activity B is followed by activity D, so we add this.
Both depend on activity C. So both of these guys are going to come off of C. We have E and we have F. Next up, we have activity G. This depends on D and E, so we're going to need some arrows coming off both of these guys, leading into activity G.
Okay, now it's making more sense. We can understand. So we can see activity C is preceded by E and F. So C is preceded by E and F, and activity G is having a procedures of D and E together. So D and E initiating activity G.
And lastly, we have activity H here, and that depends on activities F and G. So we're going to have H there, and F is going to lead into it, and so is G. And there we go. This looks right. We have no unnecessary cross.
So we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 levels. So first level is the activity A, the initiating activity. This one will lead to B and C. B will lead to another D, and C will have two activities initiated from it, which is E and F. We can see that E and F have the procedures of C, whereas G have D and E as initiators. And finally, we have H, which have F and G as initiators. Like this, we can find out that the A is the starting activity and H is the closing activity. This is the relationship between activities relying on the procedures information giving. So now we will add another diagram that will show actually show three things: the duration. Let's start, and we will see now it will show the early start and early finish, and it will show the late start and late finish, and we will see how are we going to relate each activity to each other, and how we calculate the early start and early finish and late start and late finish.
Crossovers, so we don't have to redo it or shift anything around. Now, all we need to do is we'll just redraw it with our typical nodes here that we've been using. Again, in case you forget the convention that I'm going by, we have, in this square, we have activity, we have the duration, and then we have early start, early finish, and then late start and late finish. So we'll just draw the diagram right.
So this diagram actually have different shapes. This is the simplest shape for this diagram. Sometimes we use different kind of, actually they use this one normally. They like to use this. 1 minute, please. Okay. They like to use this kind of if you are reading from a reference, you will find this diagram like this one. So you'll have the duration and the name of the task. Then you will have these four squares, small squares. The upper squares indicates the early start and the early finish. What does it mean? Now we will see how we will calculate these figures. And the lower rectangles, it will reflect the late start and late finish. So if you see this kind of drawing or this kind of diagram, or this one, it is the same actually. So just to show you this one.
Here.
So what he has done now is just drawing these rectangles here and adding the name of the activity, D, E, F, etc., and adding the duration, which is already given in the table. So activity A is 3, activity B is 4. So adding all these figures and letters of the activities, we make it fast because it is understandable.
And now what we want to do is just complete our forward pass to find the early start, early finish, and then once we have that, we'll do our backwards pass to find the late finishes and the late starts. So starting with activity A.
So we have a forward path and we have a backward path. Starting by calculating the early start and early finish. What we mean that this activity A, what is the earliest time we can start it? Going to be, now you can see, starting from 0. And how many days needed? 3. So we make it 3. From 0 to 3. We'll see now.
A, we start at 0. The beginning of day 1 is 0, whereas the end of day 1 would be 1, right? So we start at 0. Activity A, its duration is 3 days, so we have 0 plus 3. So early finish is 3. Then remember, if what we do is we bring the early finish into the early start of these activities. So we just bring the 3 up because they can't start until this guy's done.
Okay, so now the upper rectangles is all about the early start, early finish. So now we are going to calculate all the upper rectangles in all the activities. So starting by identifying the 0 as starting point. We don't put 1, we just put 0. And then we add up the duration days under the letter of the activity. So 0 plus 3 is 3. So the early start is 0 and the early finish is 3. Now, when we pass to the following activities, we just follow the same figure, the same number. If we have here 3, the early finish of the first activity is 3, then the early start of the following activity is also 3. We copy the same. We don't put 4. We put the same date. This is how we calculate it, because we already put 0, not 1. So we put 0, 3, and the same figure we will put on the upper as early start for the following activity. Then we repeat again. We add up the duration of the activity below. So 3 plus 4, the early finish is going to be for this activity is 7. We'll see.
So again, now we have 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 plus 2 is 5. And you can really go in any order that you want.
We can see now there is a deviation. There is a difference between activity B and activity C. Because activity C is need less duration than activity B, then activity C will finish before activity B. Then we will have a difference. We will have a lagging. We call it a lagging. We have an extra time in our schedule. So we have here until here, we have extra 2 days. These guys who did the activity C, they have extra days, 2 days here. They can extend their work or they can make it early and get rest. This is a lagging time between the two activities. How we'll come to the critical path.
Here, just as long as we make sure you're bringing over the right number. So we're going to bring 7 into this guy, and 7 plus 5 is 12. Now we can't fill in this yet because there's 2 different arrows coming in and we'll have to pick them.
So now he proceeded from B to D because they have only 1 arrow. So the same we have done here, 3 went here and then the 7 will go here. That's mean how? This D cannot start until B is finished because this one is finished to start. We will talk about this one later.
Larger value. So we have 5 here. We're going to bring the 5 up. We have 5 plus 1 is 6. And obviously the 12 here will win, right? Because G depends on E and D. It can't start until E and D are both done. And while E finishes on the end of day 6 here, and D finishes on the end of day 12. So obviously we have to wait till the end of day 12 before we can start G. So we bring in the 12 here, add 4, and we'll get 16.
So now I think it's clear. Once we have done this one, we have that mean this D is going to be finished earliest by the 12th day of the project. So the early finish of D, if all went good and actually there's no delay in all these activities, so activity A will finish on 3, B will finish on 7, then D will finish on 12 because this is the minimum duration for all these processes. Whereas if you go in the lower path, it's another path. You will go by 3 days, then 5 days, then 6 days. So can we start activity G on the 6 days? We cannot. Why? Because it is obligatory to wait for activity D to finish. So, for example, if you have the electricity and the plumbing being installed, the electricity will finish on day 6, but the plumbing will not finish until day 12. So you cannot put the painting or the tiles until both electricity and plumbing finish together. So we have to wait until activity D finish, then we can start the next activity, which is installing tiles, for example. That's why we choose the highest number of each, and we proceed with the highest number. Then we calculate how many days uh, for this activity. Let's continue.
Now again, we have to wait. We're not sure what we can put here yet because there's 2 arrows coming in. So we have to go all the way back to here. So we had the early finish on C. We're going to bring that to the early start on F. That's a 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. And what are we going to bring here? We have a 7 or we have a 16. Well, the 16 obviously wins because H depends on G and F. And obviously we can't start it on day 7 or at the end of day 7 or beginning of day 8, I suppose. Because we need to wait for G to finish, and it's expected to finish here on the end of day 16. So we're going to bring that 16 in, and we'll have 16 plus 3 is 19. So right away we know that the duration of the project, the planned duration of this project, is 19 days.
Okay, so similarly, as we can see here, for activity H, also it is dependent for 2 activities, which is G and F. So when we calculated when we calculated F, it is proceeding from C. So from 5 days and another 2, it will be 7. Whereas activity G will finish only on 16. So in the early finish, you have to take the highest number. The higher number you have to take to identify what is the earliest start date of the proceeding proceeding activity. Then the final number we will have here, the early finish, is going to be the early finish date of the entire project, because this is the final closing activity. So the earliest we can finish this project is within 19 days. And that's how we can identify, you can see this path from A, B, D, G, H. You can see that there is no lagging. We will talk about it later. So this is how we calculate the early start, early finish of the all activities. This is the forward path. We are starting from the first activity, forwarding ahead to the last activity. Now we have to calculate the late start and late finish for all these activities by going backward. We'll see how.
Yes. Now we want to find out what the critical path is, so we're going to have to do the backwards pass. And how we do that, if you recall, we're going to bring this 19 down, right, the 19 here, and similar but different, instead of adding the duration, we're going to be subtracting the duration as we go back. So we have 19 minus 3, we get 16. Now we can bring the 16 into this spot. We can also bring it into this spot because there's no competing arrows coming in. So first of all, we'll start up here. 16 minus 4, we have 12. And again, we can bring this 12 to here because there's only one arrow leading in. We can bring this 12 down here because there's only one arrow. 12 minus 1 is 11. And up here we had 12 minus 5 is 7. Again, you can jump around as much as you like here. Down here we forgot to finish this guy. We have the 16 minus 2. We'll get 14 here.
Okay, so in this example now, we'll start backwarding. So starting from the last activity, it will late finish, which is the same as early finish. Because this is the last one, there is no differences. And because this activity is in the critical path, so there is no differences between the early start and late start and the early finish and late finish. They are the same because it is on the critical path. This one path, if anything happen in this path, let's say we have a delay for 2 days in activity B, all our project will be delayed another 2 days because this is our critical path. So the last activity and the first activity always are in the critical path unless they are more than one, or more than one starting activity, or more than one late activity. If there is only one, that's for sure that is going to be on the critical path. So the early start and early finish, and the late start and late finish are similar. Going back now to the first component of the H, which is G, we can see that it's also on the critical path. So we transfer that 16 to here, just like before. We transfer this 16 from under power, we transfer here, and also because you have two activities, this 16 go down also to F. Now, as we added the duration here, now we subtract the duration from the late finish. So we subtract 4 days from the 16, the result will be 12. We can see it is similar because G also on the critical path. Whereas F, you can see that the duration is 2. So 16 minus 2 is going to be 14. We can find there is a lagging between the 5 and the 14. And we can find also a lagging between the 7th and the 16th. We have about 9 days difference is the lagging between them. So then afterward, we continue from this point, from G to D and E. D and E will take the same late start of G as their own late finish. We can see the difference. There is no difference on D because it's on the critical path. Whereas E, it's not on the critical path. There is difference about 6 days. Then you will have one subtracted. Then you will have the late start is on 11. So this difference is the lagging in between the late start and the early start, the early finish and the late finish.
All right. Now, leading into C, we're not sure what we can put here, right? Because there's two numbers we could put. It's either the 11 or the 14. And remember, with the backwards pass, we do the opposite of the forwards pass. So we bring the smaller number of the two. It wins. So we bring this 11 into here because 11 is smaller than 14. Up here, we only have one arrow leading out of B.
So now it is a difference because we are going back. So the the late finish of the C should be the smallest duration of the smallest late start of either of their procedure of the following activity. So because E will start late start by 11, that means C should be finished before E starting. So it's mandatory for C to finish on 11th. So the latest finish of C is going to be on 11, whereas the early finish is 5. So we can finish at 5, but we cannot exceed 11. If we exceed 11, then E will be late more than 11 here. Let's start will be 12, 13. Then here is going to be more. So if this one is 12, this one going to be 13. Then if this one 13 will affect our critical path. So if this one becomes 13, then in this one will be 13 also. So this one also will be 13. So we'll be delaying also 1 day here. So the maximum late finish of C should be 11. So you will have 6 days lagging only. If you exceed these 6 days, it will be affecting also our critical path.
So we only have this number that's a possibility. So we bring the 7 in. 7 minus 4 is 3. Now we can't go here yet because C has to be done. So we have 11 minus 2 is 9. And then again, what we want to find out for what to put for the late finish for A, well, we take the smaller of all of the competing values here. So we can either put 3 or we could put 9. So we're going to put 3. And 3 minus 3 is 0.
So now we understand how we calculate the early start and early finish. When we see the early start and the early finish, when we compare the two activities before the third, we will take the highest number, because the highest number is required for the earlier activity to finish. Whereas going backward, if we have two activities engaging one, then you should take the smallest number, because this smallest number is required for the following activity to be started and not affecting our critical path.
And now to identify the critical path, if you recall from the previous video, all we have to do is figure out which activities have their early finish and late finish being the same. So we have activity A here, the early finish and late finish are both 3. Activity B, the early finish and late finish are both 7. For D, they're both 12. G, they're both 16. And H, they're both 19. So A, B, D, G, H would form a critical path, and here I'll just outline it in red just to kind of hit the idea home. So there you go.
So we can identify the critical path of our project by inspecting the early finish and late finish. Once they are the same, that means this activity is on our critical path.
Our critical path is A, B, D, G, H, and if we delayed any one of these activities by any amount of time, even if it was just 1 day, the entire duration of the project would actually increase by a day. Whereas if you look down at maybe C, E, or F, we can actually delay some of these guys for actually quite a long time. For example, if we started activity E, if we delayed it by 1 day, that wouldn't affect anything, because according to its late start and late finish, it's allowed to start at least or at the latest on day 11 and finish on day 12 before it would start affecting the end date of our project. And that brings up the concept of float or slack. We have total float, total slack, or free float and free slack. Both float and slack is the same thing, and we will be talking about that in the.
So the activities that are not on our critical pathway that will have a floating date. What's the meaning of floating date? You will have extra dates that you can do without affecting our critical path. So if we can just take a look on the activity E, you can see that the early start on 7, on 5, 5th, and the late finish on 12. How many days you have? You have 7 days, whereas your actual duration is 1 day. So you can delay this 1 day to the 7th, or you can do it within this 7 days, and you will not affecting your work and your critical path. For example, if we can look at activity C, the early start in 3, the 3rd, whereas the late finish on 11. So how many different days? You have about 8 days, whereas your duration is 2 only. So for 2 days, you have a floating days of 6. You have 6 extra days in this activity. So here you have 6 floating days. Here you have 5 to 7 minus 1, 6 also. 5 to 16. So 11 days minus 2, 1, 9, and so on. So do you understand this concept? Do you have any question about this idea? Any contributors? Because actually now we will have one example, and I will give you about 15 to 20 minutes to do this example, just similar to this one. What do you say? We will have this example here. Okay, this example, I want you now to take about 20 minutes. Now we have 2:50. We will go back on 3:10, and I want you to do this exercise, just the same idea on one piece of paper, and take a snap and put it in our WhatsApp group. Okay, I will make a snap for this one, and I will send it to you to the WhatsApp group so you can do a similar example of our work. Thank you very much. See you in 20 minutes. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, everybody is back. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Everybody have done well. We will continue discussing about the relationship between the tasks, explaining furthermore. So, starting back with from this diagram, we can see that we have a beginning of our project. This beginning, it might not be an activity. It's just like a milestone, and the end. Maybe it's an activity, or maybe it is a milestone. So here they are putting A. That means the activity A is starting from here. So the beginning here is just a milestone. And here also they put end. That means we have several activities ending this project. Can we, from one look, from this one, can we identify the critical path? Anybody can identify the critical path for this diagram? So we have the first path is A, B, E, end. Then A, B, C, D, E, end. Then we have H, F, G, end. H, C, D, E, end. H, I, J, end. So start, finish to start. All the relationship here is finish to start, finish to start. Anybody can help me to identify the critical path? Raise your hand. Actually, we cannot identify the critical path here because we don't have the duration. Unless we have duration here and specific duration for every activity, then we can find out the critical path. So the number of the activities is not relevant. Actually, the duration of each is the necessary figure to know before we identify the critical path. So listing the activity first and the relationship between them, then creating a start node, then drawing arrows from start node to the first activities node, then sequentially arrange the activities from start to end. Repeat the process from successors for all activities, then double check for any missed relationship. This is how we should do the diagram. So actually we have 4 types of relationships between the activities. The first one is finish to start, which is most common relationship. That means that starting the successor is only when the predecessor is completed and finished. So all these relationships here, as we said, once A is finished, then B will start. So finish to start. This is the most common and logical relationship. Whereas we have finish to finish. So the successor activity is completed when the precedent is completed. So finish to finish. So I will give one. We can give one example that we only finish baking our cake, for example, uh, when another component is ready and finished. We can do this finish to finish. Then we have start to start. So maybe we can arrange our activities. So we cannot start one activity unless we start another. So it's connected by starting, not finishing. And the most rarely used is start to finish. Start to finish. So if it's just like upside down of finish to start, we will see an example. So A to B, start to finish, this is the most used type of relationship. So if you want to pour the concrete, once we finish, we can raise the frame. We cannot raise the frame unless we pour the concrete and the concrete is dry. So defining the requirement first, then we write the code if we have a code to do. Set the budget first, then select the design and the designer or other relationship. Whereas finish to finish, as we baking the turkey, then the baking the cookies. So you set the relationship, reproduce the desks, and generate documentation. This one, when finish, you have to finish this one. They are related to each other by finishing. Here, for example, start to start. So if we have two people doing same activity, so maybe we will say, Lucy, wrap the chocolates and Ethan wrap the, you have to start all together. Start to start. Install plumbing and install wiring. They have to start together. This one, the rest, as we said, is start to finish. Start to finish. Initiate project management, then complete proposal. Actually, we can say that once we finish completing the proposal, then we will initiating the management, the project management. So this one we can flip it. So that's why really it's used. So the dependency types, we have the mandatory types, the may be a contractual required inherent by nature of the work by being done. Then the discretionary dependency, which is preferred logic, professional logic, and soft logic, based on the knowledge of the best practices within the project, and can limit the schedule options, and it ought to be used and should be used. So the strongest dependency is the mandatory dependency, whereas the less stronger is discretionary dependency. Whereas the third is the external dependency, which involves relationship between project and non-project activities, generally outside control of the project, just like maybe governmental or other social factors that can have influence on the project. Now we go to estimating the resources of the activities. This one is a complementary subject for time management. This one, the input of this estimation is the activity list, which we already have been done first, activity attributes, and we will add the resource calendar. This is new to be added, the resource calendar. So if we have time for using the resources, for example, in our project, we have cement, we have iron, we have a lot of sources. So even we can manpower, we can deal with it as all these materials and people and labor and equipment and supplies also that is needed for the activity. So let's say we have one truck, we want to use it in one site. So we have a calendar for this truck. In this day, it will be there being used, will be engaged with this activity in this site. So we have to put the resource calendar to develop the output of the estimation. Then the add enterprise environmental factors and organizational process access. This is always being added as an input for our estimations. Then what are the tools that we will use to produce the outcome of the estimation of the project resources? First is the expert judgment, which will use the expert in your project. So then they will say that we need and it's required for activity A to be done this and this and this quantity of material, people, equipment, etc. Then alternative analysis. So after the experts put their report, then we can analyze the report and we can say we have this alternative for this need and we have this alternative for this need. So this is alternative analysis report. Then we have a published estimation data. So we already have also bottom-up estimation and project management software. So project management software also you can input, you can put your resource calendar and quantity inside this software, and he will show you the availability of the materials and the clash if there is any, uh, or the shortage of the material or the quantity that you need for each activity after you assign the quantity you need of the resource to each activity. So combining all these tools and techniques and achieving the output, which is activity resource requirement and resource breakdown structure, and finally the project documentation updates. So achieving these three outputs, then we will be have done estimating the activities of our resources. So starting here, we will have the acquired project team, the conducted procurement, or they have the resource calendar. So this one, because we already have the team, we already know how much labor we have already in our project, and we have the calendar for each material and labor resources we need. Then the enterprise organization, as we said, as mandatory input for our estimation. Then we will conduct these three phases is defining the activities we already done in the planning area, then estimating activity resources, and this one will give us the estimation activity durations and the development of the schedule in the previous uh, um, uh, time estimation, and then we will do the resource breakdown structure, what we need for each activity, then the project documentation update, and the activity resource requirement, and we will get the three documents, project documents, and develop the human resource plan, because we are already identified our um, labor and management and all the team we need for our project, and the plan procurement, that means what is the resources we need, the materials we need to do the plan, the procurement, and the flow of materials in our project. So this is some example about the structure breakdown. The project management, here we have labor and we have infrastructure. So the labor is divided between USA and UK. The USA will have marketing specialists, and UK we will have marketing specialists also, different in New York and London. So we have a breakdown of our labor, what we need and where we need them. Then we have the infrastructure. The infrastructure is servers. The servers is divided between web servers and application servers. And we identify the location for each, one in Memphis and one in New Jersey. So this is a breakdown for the resource structure that we need in our project. Now, going to estimating the duration of the activities. So the process of approximating the number of working periods, working days, needed to complete individual activities with estimated resources. So we already know all the resources we need, and we have our calendar for the resources. Then we are now to identify the approximate number of working days. So the input is just like previously we have done, activity list, activity attributes, activity resource requirement, and the resource calendar, project scope statement, and enterprise and organizational assets. Okay, so once all these inputs are ready, we start to do these techniques and tools to develop the outputs of this duration estimation. So, like always, we have the expert judgment for approximating the duration of each activity. Then we have the analog estimation. Then we have parametric estimation, 3-point estimation, and reserve analysis to see what is the reservation of our resources and the need for each activity for the time to process and do the activity until it is finished. So our output is activity duration estimates and the project documentation updates. So finally, developing the schedule, we will use all the inputs we have already, and then we will have the critical path method, which we have explained already, and we have critical chain method to identify the needed resources. The critical path is for the duration and the time, whereas the critical chain method is for identifying the critical resources management method that we need. Resource leveling, if we have different resources in different sites, we can use it to level and make it happen and make a flow chart for our resources in our different projects or in our different part of our project. And finally, we use all these techniques to produce a project schedule baseline, and schedule data, and project document updates. I'm not going in details. You can just go through and see the relationship, what is coming first and which results from which. And then we have to, I want to go through also another example of the critical pathway method, critical path method that we have done, and I have give you. First, we will set the early start date for each activity. Then we begin at left work and left to the right, top to the bottom. So we have this example. It's quite similar to the one I gave you already. I will also explain a little bit. Then afterward, we will have a session about implementing and the software used in these to manage projects. So in this critical exercise, this one, I already drew the tasks already and the activities with the duration for each. So starting, we have two tasks to start, task A and task B. Like you have done already, the duration is 7. So task A to task C, C to G, and G to H, and G, H, then you are finished. Then B, you have another path, B to D, D to E, and E to H, whereas you have an extra path, where is it, B to F and F to E. Starting, we can see that the starting of task A, early start is 0. Then we add the 7, so it's 7. We transfer the 7 to early start of C. Another 6 days, it will be 13. So 13 is the early finish of C, so it will be transferred to G, and which is going to be the early start of G. We add 3 duration days, so the total up is 16. So 16 is the early finish of task G. Once G is finished, so finish to start task H, we cannot first see until we see the other path. When we calculate the other path, we can see that 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, that means 9. So the 9, and this one is 5 only. So the 6 and 5, we take the highest number. So it's going to be here 6. And here 9, because 6 plus 3 is 9. So which the highest number is 16. So the 16 will be transferred to task H. Task H is 2 days. So the early start, early finish will be on 9:18. So this is the early forward pass. This is the early finish and early start. We can see from this one is the early finish of this project is 18 days. So our critical path we will find out after we go the backward path. So the backward path is like the following. We start from 18 and we minus 2 is going to be 16. So this 16 is going to be transferred to G and E. G minus 3 will be 13 and will be passed to the C. Minus 6, 7. So 7 will be added to the A. 7 minus 7 is 0. So when we see that all the same, the early start is the same of early finish of the late start. So this one is going to be the critical pathway. Whereas the second one, we can find that the 16 is different than the 9. So 16 minus 3 is 13. Then the 13 will be transferred to task D and task F. So the late start of D is 10 and late start of F is 11. And lastly, we can compare that the late start is 11 for F and D is 10. So in this case, we take the lowest number, the smallest number, which is 10. Then it will be transferred to task B. Then task B minus 3 is going to be 7. So the floating days you can see is here between 9 and between the early finish and early finish and late finish, 7 days. Here also 7 days, and here we have 8 days. The critical path is the upper path starting from task A, C, G, and F. So thank you very much for for your time management. Now, if you don't have any question about this theoretical and part of our session, I would like to start introducing some of examples of the most used or most edge softwares used in project management. So any question till now? Okay, thank you very much. The comment session, now we are going to, first, we will see a video about one of the most famous softwares in project management, which is produced by Microsoft, which is Microsoft Project. This one is, I will start this video and I will comment as if it is going. We will not do a practical on it because it costs money and it's not registered under USM. So we will see the potential of this software and these videos you can find it on YouTube, no problem.
Hello there and welcome to this video. Let's discover all the tips and features you need to learn to start using Microsoft Project Professional 2016 quickly and easily. Leave us feedback in the video description to improve our following guides for Microsoft Office. Microsoft Project.
So this is Microsoft Project. You will find it very similar to Microsoft Office Suite. You will have here the ribbons and the tabs and everything, but here a little bit different. We know this type just like Excel, but this one is a little bit different. Everybody knows Excel, you know. Excel very easy. You can open, you can see all these cells. The one who work with Excel know it's only numerical, so you can use numbers and relationships, and then you have equations. And you can link between them. This one you can easily. So this is addition or subtraction, or this one you can use this one to times, for example. It's very easy. And then you can do like this. You can fill a series, and this one you can copy also, and then you can find the same equation implemented for this one. So here you have multiplication, and here you have submission. So this one is raw. We in accounting, you can use Excel very efficiently. But what is the problem with Excel, and that prevent us from using it in project management? That there is no relationship between the numbers and the time, the duration. This is our issue now. We want to connect between these numbers we are doing here and the duration, the time. I want to see these figures as time units, and how is the relationship between this time unit and this task and this task and this task. This relationship is developed in Microsoft project and other a lot of project management softwares by something called Gantt chart. This one we'll see now, and we will explain thoroughly. So let's proceed.
Is used to organize tasks, duties, appointments, and also resources in the best and easiest way in both private and business environments. In this,
so here we can identify the name of the task, the duration, the starting date, and the finishing date, and what are the processors and the procedure of this task, and how many, if there any lacking days, and everything we can identify in this software we can see now.
video, we will cover the very basic features to start. When you open Project, a welcome screen appears showing ready templates with different topics you can start from. Furthermore, on the left, you can directly open projects made in the past. In order to understand how to use Microsoft Project, let's start from a blank document by clicking on Blank Project. At this point, the General Workspace opens. This is divided in two main sides. On the left, you have a quick table that will contain the full list of the tasks to be done, and on the right you have the Gantt chart, which is used to check the job spread over the timeline above, indicating 1 day per column. First, you have to define the task to be completed on the left. Under Task Name, give a name to your task, and define when it starts under Start, and when it should finish under Finish. Once created, the new task appears on the Gantt chart as a colored rectangle. The length depicts the entire duration of the task. You can customize its appearance by double-clicking on it. Also, use the bar in the bottom right corner to modify the zoom on the Gantt chart. In case you make a mistake and you want to remove the task from the list, just right-click on it and go to Delete Task. You can extend or shorten the time duration of the task directly on the Gantt chart as well, by clicking and dragging from its edges, or move the time period by clicking and dragging it. On the left, under Duration, you can see the total number of working days, D, required between the start and the finish date. By default, the working days are counted from Monday to Friday, with no holidays in between. You can set up the working days and the holidays by going to the Project tab on top and then to change working time. Below, under Exceptions, add all holidays and non-working days you need. Apply these changes by pressing the OK button. Inside the Gantt chart, all non-working days and holidays are indicated by dark gray columns. Also, if you right-click on the taskbar and go to Split Task, you can split a task in multiple parts. This will have an impact on the start and the finish dates, but not on the duration time. The bars will become independent, changing lengths according to the working days under duration. If you hover on the far left side of the bar, you will be able to adjust the percentage of completion of the task indicated by a thin dark line on the bar itself. Notice that this follows the working days only. Besides the tasks list and the Gantt chart, you also have a timeline at the very top. This does not list all the tasks you have, but just the ones you prefer to show off. To add tasks to the timeline, just right-click on a task and go to Add to Timeline. To remove it, right-click on it from the timeline and go to Remove from Timeline. You can check all the information related to one task by double-clicking on it. In the Task Information panel, you can adjust percentage, priority, duration, and dates under General. You can add custom comments under Notes, and you can also specify the final deadline for.
So you can see, once we enter the task information, here we can identify all general, procedures, resources, advanced, notes, and custom fields added to the task we need. Here you can identify all the duration, the resource needed, the labor needed, and you can allocate the activity and the task in between the activity that they are that this one is belonging to, and all the information can be adjusted and added in this task information tab.
Each task under Advanced. This should be the date you must take into account, and this is indicated as a down green arrow on the Gantt chart. If you edit your task and you go over the deadline, Project will warn you under the information column on the left.
See, once you proceed and you make your duration beyond the deadline, an alert will be displayed, and this task goes past its deadline on the date you already feed.
In case you have tasks that are dependent, for example, when one can't start if another one is not finished yet, you can use the links. To create a link, you have to first select all the tasks that are dependent. Just hold Ctrl down and select all the tasks in the correct order. Then just click on the link the selected tasks. In the Gantt chart, all links are indicated through arrows indicating the type of dependence. By default, you create Finish to Start links, which means that the following task must not start until the preceding one or predecessor is finished. These links are.
So the default relationship is Finish to Start because it's the most used relationship in the logic of relationship between tasks.
Quite useful, since Project will automatically organize your tasks in order to respect this dependence. On the left, the predecessors column indicates the row number the task is dependent on. If it is 3, that task is dependent on the third row task in the list. If you go to Predecessors on the Task Information panel, you can check all the links.
So from here you can add the links also, and it will be displayed all the activities that are predecessors of your current activity
related to the task. Under Type, you can also change the kind of link.
So here you can, if you want to change the type of relationship, here you can choose one of each. Finish to Start, this is the default one. You can change it to start, finish to finish, start to finish.
Choose Start to make it start when the predecessor starts. Choose Finish to make it finish when its predecessor finishes. Or choose Start to make the task finish when the predecessor starts. Always check the Gantt chart for a...
So by changing this, the software will change the duration directly. So you change this one is start to finish, then it will be changed accordingly.
Quick representation. Consider that the start and finish dates of the tasks may change depending on the link chosen. You can still move and edit tasks as you like, but do respect the time dependence given from the links in order not to get any errors. In case you make any bad or conflicting entries, taskbars may have dashed contours. Inside Project, you have two kinds of tasks. So far, we have seen the manually scheduled tasks indicated by a pin symbol under the Task Mode column. You can also choose an auto-scheduled task indicated by a blue rectangular symbol. Separate from the other tasks, the auto-scheduled tasks may be fully edited and organized by project according to the several fixed constraints such as workload, deadlines, and holidays. Indeed, the way to edit them is identical to the manually scheduled tasks. In the Task Information panel of the auto-scheduled task under Advanced, you can set the same option as seen, plus other new details such as constraint type, date, and task type that are specific for the auto-scheduled tasks. In case you have tasks that are not yet defined, you can simply add them in your task list and leave them off by going to Inactivate above. In this way, these won't interfere at all with the management of the other tasks. Besides tasks, you can also add and use summaries and milestones. You can find these under the Task tab in the Insert section. The summary is a collection of several tasks grouped together. Create a new summary, rename it, and set it manually or auto under Task Mode. With the summary open, add all the tasks that it must contain, or simply select existing ones from the far left, right-click and use Cut, and then paste to add these inside the summary. Close the summary to add new tasks outside of it. In the Gantt chart, the summary is a simple container, long enough to contain the earliest start and the latest finish date of all its tasks. Just in case the summary is defined as manually scheduled, you are able to modify its duration directly. Just include all the relevant tasks in the time, or it will show errors indicated by a red-colored bar.
So adding summaries will organize your tasks and relate them all to one holistic hierarchical title. So you can group all your tasks together and then you can monitor them accordingly. So this one of the most effective tools added to MS Project.
The milestones are used to fix a goal. Inside the Gantt chart, this is a single point with a label indicating its day and month.
See the difference between the activity, task, and the milestone? The milestone is a point, whereas the activity is a bar. It's a duration of time, duration of resources usage to produce the activity that you are going to do it inside your time. Whereas the milestone is just an event. After you finish multiple or one activity, you will have one milestone to it.
To save your project document, just go to File and then to Save As. Choose Browse to save inside your computer. Project documents are saved with a .mpp file format. You can also include multiple projects inside one, especially if you want to take care of multiple projects at the same time. If you go to the Project tab and then to Subproject, you can browse for your project file to import into the current one. This will show up as an auto-scheduled summary. This is a live link. If the imported projects are edited, you will see all the changes that are affected. Project Professional is also very useful to organize tasks inside a business team, composed by resources. These are people that are going to perform the different tasks listed inside the plan. In the bottom right-hand corner, click on Team Planner. This workspace lets you add the resources and assign the respective tasks. On top, under the Resource tab, click on Add Resources to add people. You can import from your own address book or add.
So if you can see now, people, team, and labor is considered as a resource for your project. So once you add a resource, you are adding a team work resource, or this one will see later how to
add manually by using Work Resource.
See, we have work resource, we have material resource, and we have cost resource.
Then, double-click on the new row to define the resource name, email, group, telephone number, their availability under Resource Availability, and other options. If you go to Change Working Time, you can add non-working days and holidays to the specific resource. Click OK to apply all. Additionally, under Unassigned Tasks, you have all the tasks that must still be assigned to your team. You may drag and drop a task to the current resource row, matching the current time placement by observing the timeline above. In case you have a task split in several parts, you can assign it by moving the last part and even assign different parts to different resources. When you come back to the Gantt chart workspace, you will see the resource names assigned to each task. While assigning tasks, Project highlights bad entries through a thin red contour. For example, when a task starts on a non-working time, or when you assign too many tasks to a single resource, making it over-allocated. In case a resource is over-allocated, you have to distribute the daily working hours in the correct way. If you go to the Task Usage workspace, you can check day by day the total working hours per resource for each single task listed. By default, each resource can work a maximum 8 hours per working day in total. If you assign more than this amount, the resource will be over-allocated, as the red icon on the far left suggests. In this case, you have to spread the working hours through different resources or tasks in order to reach the maximum 8 hours. You can change the hours by selecting the cell and typing inside. For complex projects, the auto-scheduled tasks are managed automatically, depending on the constraints inserted. You can also assign a single task to multiple resources inside the Task Usage workspace. If you right-click on a task and go to Assign Resources, you can add other resources to work on a single task. Just select the resource to add and then go to Assign. This will make it easier to distribute the working hours on each task. Inside Project, you have the possibility to make quick reports on your project plan. If you go to the Report tab, you can create a new sheet through the New Report button. These reports are used to see and quantify the distribution of work to be done, the load of each single resource, and additional information through descriptions, charts, and tables that you can add and edit through all the design tools on top. All these reports are saved inside the Report workspace in the bottom right corner and listed under the Recent button on top. Thanks for watching this video. Subscribe to us for more amazing free videos for Microsoft Office.
So this is all about an introduction about Microsoft Office and its potential in first scheduling the activities, duration, and then assigning the resources, which is material, cost, and people or labor, and finally making reports for the achievement. There are a lot of other also qualification that this video did not cover, but for an introduction about this very important tool, we can just go through the basics that this software will give you once you are managing your project. So this is one of the most powerful tools and used in project management. With either in any kind of project, you can customize all your tasks and add it here, and you can just control your project with it. So this is a general tool. So later we will go also to another tool which is more specific, and it will give us more data about or more specific tools about construction. So now I will go and we'll talk about another software, which is it's not only another software, it's a platform actually. It's called Open Project. This Open Project actually it can be used for general projects, and it has extra tools to cover the construction projects, and using BIM and using your designs and your drafting in for example, the one you did in Revit, you can import it to the platform, and you can do adjustment and all notes and correction on the model itself. First, I will show you an introduction about the Open Project platform. Then I will show you a detailed construction project management tool by this platform.
Hi,
So
and
first,
welcome to Open
we'll go-
Project. My name is Birte, and I'll show you the 5 steps to get started with this.
So there is a 5 steps starting with Open Project. We will go through it one by one. This one is a little bit fast. I will try to make it slower, or I will just pause it and talk about it each phase.
This powerful project management software. Once you have logged into your application, you see the home screen with an overview of important information. First, you can choose an existing project you want to work on from the project drop-down menu. Or if you're an admin, you can create a new project. Just select.
So this is after you, actually this is a paid platform. It will give you 14 days free of charge. So you can go and dig it up and see what is inside, but you have to subscribe eventually. So these 14 days you can just look into it and see how they work with construction projects. For a start, if you are an admin, you can directly go, because you are an admin, if you start, and you can add another team member. So as long as you are the admin, you can create new projects. If you already have new projects, you can open the old projects.
New project from the home screen. Choose a name for your project and click Create. Second, you can add members to your project. You can either.
So this one not only a static platform. This one you can add members from your teams to actually log in and contribute and work and adjust your project inside the platform. Whereas MS Project is a static. You can only add the name and then you produce reports. But you have to statically do the job. You have to add the names, as you saw previously. You have to adjust the working hours, everything you have to do yourself as project manager. Whereas here, you can add the members to adjust their tasks, and they will be responsible for all the changes and customizations in their task assigned to them.
Either add existing users to a project, or you can invite new users by typing in their email address. Assign a certain role for this project and click Add. Third step, add your work to the project. This can be any.
So it's a collaboration platform. After you add your members and you ensure that everybody is log into their by using their home membership, they can enter to your project and start adjusting according to your comments and notes.
Anything you want to track, for example, tasks, features, bugs. You can create new work packages directly from the list, or you can choose Create and select the type of work you want to add. Enter title and description, add files per drag and drop or copy paste, and assign it to a project member.
See, here from starting you can directly create, put the name of the task, directly put description, assign directly the people and put estimation time, whatever categories you want to put the progress, or you can give a lot of details starting. Then you just initiate. Then the member responsible for this assignment, for this activity, can proceed and can control and can adjust these information later.
Double-click on the row or click on the info icon will open the details view. You can see recent activities and add comments in the activity tab. Also, you can notify members with add notations or add watches to keep them informed about updates. The arrow.
See, this one, not only the communication is direct, you can also put supervisor on the work, so they can push their subordinate and they make them do the job on time.
Will bring you back to the list view. Fourth step is to create a project plan. Clicking on the little icon will activate the Gantt chart view.
See now, this is now you know what is a Gantt chart. This is an added tool to the project. Now you can also use the Gantt chart to create other activities also.
For your list, create phases and milestones directly in the Gantt chart and update it with drag and drop. Add dependencies with right-click and choose predecessor or follower. Fifth step is to filter, group and save your lists depending on your.
So once you finish doing your Gantt chart, now doing just like the filters to do, using the filters to do appropriate reports that you need. You can, here it is used as a views, because directly you can click on it and you can see it every time you need.
Your needs. For example, all bugs or all tasks assigned to me and so on. Add or remove columns. You can activate or deactivate the Gantt chart for each view. Save a report, add it to your project menu and make it visible to other project members. You can select existing reports from the drop-down menu. This is everything to know to get started. Get your projects.
You can see now, this is a very convenient, very user-friendly platform. This is for general project. It's not mentioning any type of specified project, but when we go deeper to being open project, we will find a very exciting tool that we as architects will make a lot of benefits using this one 3D and 2D modeling also inside. Now we can go and see this one. Okay.
A new way of managing your building projects.
So Open Project Beam, it's not only about project management. It's first about cooperation and collaboration between all the stakeholders of the project. So it's PCF management. It's not only project management. Project management is one of the tools it's providing. You have communication between all stakeholders. You have visualization for your 3D model and 2D 3D model, and also the management of all the documents of the projects. It all can be stored in one place and this is the edge of project management for construction projects. You have to see this one. It's really very nice.
Open Project enables central planning, collaboration, and coordination.
So the collaboration and coordination not only between the architects in between or other specialization of the engineers. No, all stakeholders of the projects can be collaborating and communicating and coordinating together. Everyone have the authority, the permissions they need. Everyone have his own tasks to do. Everyone his own missions, and everyone have his own role to do. And, all will be combined in one place. The beauty about this. So the project manager will be controlling everyone. The architect and other engineers will be doing the modification. The building owner will supervising everything. The asset manager also will have his own permission. The contractor will go in and see specialist planners. Everybody, even you can go in and put government representative or other NGOs representative. If you want to do a green building or something like this, you can add another stakeholders with certain authorities and certain permissions, and everything will be inside with just like a beehive, very nice and very convenient.
For BIM projects, and connects stakeholders along the entire project lifecycle. As a web-based and open-source coordination tool, all BIM issues can be created, managed, and distributed centrally.
So it will use the BIM, your model developed in BIM with all the data and information on this model, and it will use it to connect all the stakeholders together.
In Open Project. Open Project supports open standards such as the Industry Foundation Classes, IFC, and the BIM Collaboration Format, BCF. Now you can easily upload and view multiple 3D models in your...
So this is the window you will have in the project. This is a demo. Once you finish your design, you can directly import it to the Open Project BIM, and it will be visualized as you see here directly. And then you will use the tools to identify all the clashes, identify all the problems you will see now.
Project management application, and give people access to this information directly in the browser. Navigate to the BCF module and click the Manage Models button.
See here, each one of these one is a clash or a modification. Okay, you will select one of the items, you will select enable, and then you will add an issue. This issue will be connected to a specific stakeholder to modify, to contribute, to supervise. You can adjust everything and you just put it all, and you can then trace it one by one and see what is the progress of each activity.
You can upload new IFC models with the green Add IFC Model button, or manage existing building models. With the import and export of BCF XML files, you can collaborate and coordinate BIM issues directly on the 3D model. You can create and communicate issues in a construction project, such as clashes, requests, questions, on the building model, or coordinate them between submodels in local...
See, once you click on the item, directly it will show it to you on the preview window here. Then you will have all the information. Now you can see this one is resolved already, so it will be in green. In progress, it will be in orange, and so on.
Applications. Switch between the model viewer and cards, or cards.
See, this one it will show you all the cards that you are opening.
Only. With a comprehensive IFC viewer, you can inspect and collaborate on your models. For example, to slice models.
Adding the slice tool to conveniently slice your model and identify a specific item and adding the card on it.
Models to get a detailed view, selectively activate objects such as architecture and heating, ventilation and air conditioning.
See how your BIM qualify you with all the information you need. See, the more professionally you are designing on BIM, the more convenient you will find all the information you need here. This is a fantastic tool to use all your proficiency in BIM and use it in project management and construction project management.
Separate stories and switch from 3D to a 2D view to
In
get
this one, it is just like a dream for architects to see all these one tools. You can directly adjust, you can directly identify, you can give this view to the customer, to all other stakeholders. You can take this views. It was just like a dream with one click only.
to a 2D view to get a floor plan.
Directly transferring from 3D to 2D view.
Create new BCFs directly on the 3D building model with the green Create button and select the type of BIM issue. For
See what are the type of cards we can give: the task, the milestone, the phase, an issue, a remark, a request, or a clash. Here we have a clashing between two panels of solar panels. Then he will do a clash.
issue, for example, a clash.
See, identifying the clash.
Add a viewpoint, jointly prioritize and analyze, and assign them to the responsible BIM modelers. Manage all BCF files
So adding these directly to the stakeholders involved, see, who is the responsible, who is the assignee, and putting all the details you want to do.
directly in Open Project or further export them to your local BIM applications. All BIM features are tightly integrated with the project management functionalities in Open Project, such as powerful filter and search to support fast and intuitive use.
See, this one powerful tool of filtering, of identifying all the items related to one item that you are looking for.
And transparent tracking. Display issues in a Gantt chart on a timeline.
Again, we are here. The tags you have done already, they transform it from a card to an activity, and they put it in a Gantt chart. So directly, it's just like a sweet potato. No, it's very nice that directly once you do just like that one, it's just like you are just like you are feeling just like a form. You are filling a form, and this platform is going to transfer all the details into coherent, related tasks. So once you are finished doing your task here, your cards, all the cards you have done, not only you, all the stakeholders is going to be added in a project management style, just like we already know. Task, duration, assignee, what prioritization, finish, starting date, finishing date, and then they put it as Gantt chart also to see and visualize the relationship between all these activities.
Chart on a timeline, or manage them in an agile board.
Okay. So this one also another type of reviewing the activities you have in Kanban. It's called Kanban chart. Kanban chart is you have 4 columns. You categorize your activities into 4 categories. The first is new, that you are doing now. You haven't assign it to anybody, still have lacking information. So you just put the name of the activity under new, and then you put in progress. After you identify the duration, the responsible for this activity, everything, then you will put it under progress. So the person, the one who have assigned to, he will do the work, and then when it's finished, he will give you a result. Then after being shift to results column, you check on it, or the one who is supervising this work, he will check on it. Then it will be announced as closed activity. So this is the 4 categories that Kanban uh, columns of Kanban preview will give you on this one. So you can choose whether you want to see it on this way, all the cards and the review, or you want to see in this way. You have the task and the Gantt chart, just like Microsoft Office, or you can do Kanban, which is it's called lean management. Lean management. This one very agile management also. This one called agile management. This one a very advanced technique of managing the tasks.
Upcoming integrations, for example with Revit, will make the BCF management even more convenient. A BCF REST API will enable integrations in your preferred local BIM application.
So this is the most powerful tool now up to date that is using the Revit and BIM software. Your project would have you developed in BIM, and it will use it to be the base for reviewing the issues in your project. This is one of the most important project open project platform that I have seen till now. This is the up-to-date one of the most important. So finally, this one actually we cannot do much. I will not do enhanced training on this one. If you like, you can just log into this one open project team and create your own account, and within 14 days you will have the opportunity to explore before you subscribe and pay money for this one. Finally, I have a Midway. It's a free project management platform. It's called Airtable. This one, Airtable, this one, one of the most user-friendly and very nice. You will see now.
Airtable is an online organizational and
so this one is going. It's free of charge. You can use unlimited databases using this one. They have several packages. The free package for me is more than enough for us starting. So you will see the details. It will be a very nice representative alternative for MS Project, and it's online, and you can access it from anywhere, not like the Microsoft Office, Microsoft Project. So let's see what this platform gives us. It's not like Open Project BIM. We don't have the power tool of BIM inside it, but at least it gives us several tools, just like the Gantt chart, the Kanban chart, and other filters that also you can give collaboration. You can add your team members to this one platform, also free of charge. This is the beauty of this one. Let's see what is the capability of this platform, and then we can log in and do a hand-on training on this.
collaboration tool for business. Part spreadsheet.
So this
Airtable is an online organizational and collaboration tool for business. Part spreadsheet and part database, Airtable is a flexible tool that lets you and your team work the way you want. You can choose to display your tasks in different views, mix and match widgets with different functionalities, or choose from ready-built templates made for specific teams and business needs.
So starting, it's not only a project management tool, it's a collaborative tool. You can add your team members and they can manage their own tasks that you assign them to it. So the features displayed also you can see in different views, as I said. Gantt chart, other thing, and you can do different functionalities. And finally, you can choose one of the templates. You have a lot of templates you can use, and you can adjust on them and customize them according to your need.
If you're looking for a workflow management solution, you should consider Airtable. But if you want to speed up your search, use our product selection tool to get a free shortlist of workflow management software recommendations for your needs. Click the link in the description to get started. Airtable gives you the option.
So first, you can start by identifying your need, how many people you have in your organization. Then you just select your industry, and then you identify what are the features you are looking for. So what is the basic things you need to do? Then it will help them to identify one of the templates that they already have for you to adjust and customize to meet your need.
Airtable gives you the option to look at your work in more than one.
So first, you will have this one, the calendar view.
Airtable gives you the option to look at your work in more than one way. The grid view offers the familiar spreadsheet-like interface, and the calendar view shows your work from a monthly perspective. If you work with images, the gallery view is helpful, especially if you have a catalog for your products. Airtable also has a Kanban view where you can organize tasks according to your work stages or custom classifications.
So the first view is the one normal, without Gantt chart also. The task, the owner, the duration, everything. The normal project management view, the tasks and all other attributes of the tasks. The second one, it will directly put it in your calendar. So you can see the tasks in your calendar and see what is the deadline for each task and everything on a calendar view. It's very convenient. Then the third is a gallery view. A gallery view, you can add up files and photos to your projects. So this one can be convenient, similar to the things they are doing in BIM, but instead of putting the project and BIM are all detailed, very nice detail there, you can just add up a snapshot. This one, if you want a free solution, this one will be very nice and very convenient. So at least the customer, for example, will see the photo of the clash, for example, or for the issue you are raising for one customization or anything else. So this one is also very nice, can be considered as a gallery view.
The gallery view is helpful, especially if you have a catalog for your products. Airtable also has a Kanban view where you can organize tasks.
So also the Kanban view we talked about previously. So this one also you can customize it. So you can put the first stage, instead of new, you can put drafting. Second is feedback needed, revising, scheduled, live, or any other thing. So all the stages in your project, you can identify them as columns, and then you can see all your tasks categorized according to these columns.
According to your work stages or custom classifications. Additionally, Airtable has powerful filtering, sorting, and grouping settings.
This is very powerful filtering tool. You can use it to produce the reports. You can remove, you can add everything. It's very powerful, very nice, very convenient, very user-friendly. Doing reports is never easier than this one.
That you can apply to any of the views. This enables you to change the arrangement of your work items, focus on important content.
So also you can categorize them also. You can group them according one of the criteria of the characteristics you are giving to your all tasks. So not only putting them in order in ordinary report, but also categorizing them and grouping them. This is very convenient.
And access tasks and projects quickly by saving your preferences. Available in higher pricing plans, blocks give you the power to customize applications and access the right information when you need it. Along with your relational database,
we have our beautiful Gantt chart view also. So this is a full resolution for all what you need, all the tools you need to do for project management. So the Gantt chart you can also directly put, and you can find, and you can snap it, and you can use it for your report.
you can choose to add blocks such as maps, geocodes, bar charts, Gantt charts, organizational charts, a countdown timer, a time tracker, a world clock, and more. Airtable blocks give you the flexibility to build simple applications that satisfy the unique needs of your team or business. The right combination of blocks allows you to visualize, format, plan, and collaborate, or analyze and enrich your main tool without extra features that you don't need. Partner blocks let you use your third-party apps in Airtable, and you can customize your blocks with various color and styling options, custom branded forms, locked views, and password-restricted shares. Instead of building your base apps from scratch, Airtable lets you choose from dozens of templates to start building your apps quickly. Categories include content creation, software development, HR,
So you have a lot of templates to use from. And it's not necessary to start from zero, to start from a blank project. You can use previous experts and designs and templates to start with, and then you can customize it according to your need.
recruiting, and real estate. For example, if you choose the project tracker template from the project management category, you can track a project, including its tasks and clients, progress, and file attachments. From there, you can customize the template with a variety of field types to handle your content. Choose from single-line text, attachments, drop-downs, checkboxes, and more to track information relevant to your project. Airtable is a powerful tool with many benefits. Let's talk about two of them. Airtable provides the tools that let you build your business applications according to the features you want. This makes it highly customizable and includes many options, so you're not restricted to one way of working. Instead of offering a finished product with a certain set of features, you can use Airtable to build databases and choose how data is entered, edited, and displayed according to your work process. Airtable offers a free plan in addition to several paid plans. You can start small and see if the features and limits included are sufficient for your business needs. As your business or organization grows, you can choose to upgrade to a plan that better accommodates your requirements. Airtable allows you to work from a browser, a desktop app, and a mobile app. However, some users complain that the mobile app doesn't have the same capabilities as the online and desktop versions. And while the free plan is good for smaller teams with simpler needs or for larger teams wanting to get a taste of Airtable, it does impose strict limits, including limited storage space for attachments, short revision and snapshot history, and no advanced features like blocks. Still not sure if Airtable is right for you? Use our product selection tool to get a free list of project management software recommendations for you. Click the button on the left to get started.
Okay, that's all for this video. This is one of the most recommended tools, especially by me. I'm using this one for daily work also, or even for my personal activities also I can use it. This one is very, very convenient. This one this is a Airtable project tracker. So you can directly here, you can see this one if you want to do any, this is, can directly adjust the tables, the task name. You can, this one, the view of Gantt chart, see directly, you can see the Gantt chart here. So if you like, you can just log into your account in Airtable. Then you can start here. You can start from scratch, or you can start from your own work. If you have Excel data before, if you've done anything before, you can use here also. So, or you can directly, you can use templates from here. You can go to templates, and you can see that you have a lot of, if you want to go to project management, project tracker, a small project tracker, whatever, what do you want, education, for example, education, or construction. Let's see construction. So construction, you will have product design, you will have real estate, transaction management, marketing, site visit, startup. So whatever you want to start, check one of them. Let's say project planning. When you start to say use template. So this is a welcome screen. Directly it will take me to all task view. See, this one will give you all the views that you want to use. And this is the dashboard. You can just close it here. So this is the first one, all task. So task pipeline, this one, the Kanban view. So uncategorized, planned, up next, on track. You will find all this one. Then you have calendar view. You can see on this calendar. So here you can adjust whatever you want. Task in progress. This is a report. So he will show you the one in progress. Completed task, he will show you the completed task. Easily you can add categorization here, and here you can add task. If you want to add task directly, you can just here add a new. Click here, add task, the status, everything. Then if you want to get a new view of this one, you can take a phone or calendar, Gantt chart. Go Gantt chart directly, will show you. Okay. See, this is the relationship between all the tasks. Dependent task or different tasks. So you can do filtering, add filter, contain name, where add filter here, that contains, does not contain, whatever you want. The name, for example, website. So it will show you all the tasks with object of website inside. Let's see status. So we have all the completed status here. Here you can the plan. You have up next. So we have, if you want to see it as a Kanban. So also you have here you have also filter. If you want to add a filter that you want to see the owner, for example, you have is only one owner. You can see let's say status. Then you have completed one. This is the completed. Already this one is already being categorized like this. So it's a customizing tool. You have all the power you want to customize it according to your need. So whatever you want, you can change the look of it. You can change the task categories, everything you can do. So hopefully I managed to give you something new in this session. I would like to thank you all for listening, and I would like to see you using this one because I'm using it personally. And if you have any question about using this one or any other software or platforms, please feel free to contact me on WhatsApp group. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Dr. Munira and Farhana for all their support and effort to make this session successful. And for you all guys and your cooperation and collaboration, and your work was fantastic with the WhatsApp group. Thank you all. Thank you very much. and I pass the mic to Ms. Farhana. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ala. Oh, sorry, Dr. Ala Kadi. I always call you Dr. Ala. So, students, do you have any questions? Dr. Ala, are we going to have tasks for them?
Oh, please repeat. Please repeat.
Pardon?
What have you said?
Oh, do we have any tasks for the students for them to be submitted?
For now, we don't have, but maybe we will add the rubric we talk about later. Maybe we'll have one task later.
Oh, no, I mean for okay, no, I think I'll contact you later after this.
Okay, no problem.
So because we're going to have like one task for this class, so that we can see at what level whether you can understand the class or not, etc. Okay, but I will update that later at your e-learning for students. So do you have any questions? Maybe Dr. Mustaza, do you have question? Tak ada, on camera je. Dr. Ala, do you want to ask anything to the students? Or you want to add anything?
I want to ask if they have learned anything new. Do anyone know this platform before? Or is this the first time they saw this one?
First time I hear this software.
Which one is better for you? Which one you like most?
Open
project.
Yeah, open project. Yeah.
This is the favorite, but I think it will cost money. Only 14 days free. Very sorry, huh?
Yeah.
But this one I think is an alternative tool. It's very nice. I will give you a task on this one. The same we have done those tasks. I will give you the freedom to name the tasks and then implement it on this Airtable platform. Is it nice, Ms. Farhana?
I think it's good.
Okay, yeah? Very
for
nice.
them to explore, yes, yeah.
At least they practice it on hand training, and we can make sure everybody have done nice work on this one.
Okay, last chance students, do you have any question, especially on BIM and project management? Or do you want to add for another quiz about this? Okay, I'm not sure whether Dr. Nurati is still here. Dr. Nurati, do you want to add anything? Actually, she's having another class. Oh. Hi, Dr. Yat.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Dr. Ala, thank you so much. I thought this is a very long yet fruitful session.
Okay,
I think it's a good exposure to the students because we have not got any input from the project managers yet, and the fact that your background is also as an architect, I think that is it might be something very new to them. I'm pretty sure some of these softwares that you have shown also is quite new to me, but I think we can apply it in many of projects, not just not just for this project, but at any point in our life.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Very useful. Yes, exactly.
Yes, very useful. Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Dr.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nurati. So if there's no more question, I think we wait for the update at e-learning and WhatsApp group. And I would like to thank again Dr. Ala Din for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Salam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.